welcome to Leaders of Tomorrow, the only show right now on Indian television where you, the MSME, get center stage. This is ET Now's special daily platform to give you, the MSME, the answer to all of your questions. Today we are in conversation with Subhash Desai. He's the Minister for Industries and Mines, Government of Maharashtra. Take a look at part 1 of this special interview. Thank you very much for speaking with us here on Leaders of Tomorrow. It's such a privilege to have you speaking with our MSME, sir. Let me start by talking about, in your mind, why MSMEs perhaps are so important to the growth of overall industry.
First of all, I must thank you, the team ET Now, for giving importance to the MSME. And MSME sector has a very important role to play in our economy. MSME contribute nearly 50% of our total manufacturing and more than 40% contribution to our national export. So, no state can ignore MSME's activities and their growth. And therefore, state of Maharashtra is also working very hard and close with the players and their industry leaders to formulate more and more and better policies for the growth of MSMEs.
Okay. Can you talk about some of those policies? I do know you specifically are very personally invested in the growth of MSMEs in the state of Maharashtra.
Yeah. Maharashtra is always on forefront, especially on industrial sector. Maharashtra is number 1. And we are very happy to see that MSMEs are present here in Maharashtra in a very large scale. And therefore, we encourage them by giving more and more incentives. Our industrial policy 2013 speaks about this. And we give them fiscal incentives as well as other infrastructure support. Our MIDC, Maharashtra Industrial Development Corporation, we reserve more than 20% plots only for MSMEs. So they don't have to run from pillar to post getting the infrastructure support. Then there are fiscal incentives. Earlier we gave them on VAT. Now we are working on how to give facilities, fiscal support in GST regime. So that is also happening. We have one more good policy of clusters, cluster development. One individual small scale industry cannot import or cannot establish high-tech machineries or departments. But commonly they can have one common facility center and government is supporting them. We have automobile cluster, engineering cluster. We are inaugurating 3 more clusters in this month only. Rubber cluster, printing cluster. And we have many schemes. Nearly 42 clusters have been newly approved and 22 are just in the making. So with the clusters approach, the MSMEs get opportunity to take their cause forward. And we individually also, but state with the cooperation of central government, we have a policy. But Maharashtra government has its own policy for cluster development and we contribute 5 crore rupees per cluster. So they are also coming forward and for industry specific, for printing industry or silver industry, we are encouraging them to create more articles in bamboo. Then there are silver articles, goldsmiths or jewelry. All these are coming under our cluster. We have recently developed one cluster for coir. And coir is in greater demand. So the waste which is we are observing now is being put to wealth creation. So this is value addition and people get opportunity for jobs and in specifically Konkan belt, this coir cluster is the main thing the people have already accepted and they are working in that.
Okay, so the state of Maharashtra and Mumbai, of course, are known as the financial as well as the industrial hub. You were talking about some of the clusters. Could you talk to our viewers through our show about what it is that is making this state stand out when it comes to other states? What are some of the specific schemes, programs, etc., that are helping it become an industrial hub, and therefore other states should perhaps look at it and replicate it?
Maharashtra has created pioneers centers. If you see our IT hubs or IT parks, they are state of the art. So we have tried to understand their requirements, industry specific. We have also developed textile parks. We have developed this biotechnology park, wineries. So industry specific, we understand their needs and we try to address. So therefore our clusters are much effective and they are attracting more and more industries. So this is one part. Secondly, we introduce many incentives through our policies. We have introduced IT policy, we introduced electronics policy, we have introduced retail trade policies. These are new policies and the whole country is just looking with awe. So Maharashtra is always setting examples for others to follow. And our new policies are also in the making. We are now just on the point of introducing aerospace and defense policy. Then there would be fab and electronics policy. So these are new policies, and food processing policy. We are specially creating a policy for women entrepreneurs, and this will be first of its kind in the whole country, women entrepreneurs policy. So these are policies which the industry, they appreciate and they participate in through our policies, and they get the advantage.
Okay. Speaking of policies, I want to talk specifically about policies around taxation. We saw some state governments offering the sunset policy to IT companies, which is a moratorium on taxes essentially. Yes. Yeah. A lot of the MSMEs who write to us, who talk to us, say, I wish the government would give us a moratorium on taxes, on paying taxes, give us a 3-year period, give us a 5-year period. Would you agree?
Yes. And Maharashtra has been pioneer in introducing such policies. Through IT policies, there are incentives best in the country. We have introduced these incentives. They are as compared to other states, they are the best. Then we give them concession on stamp duties, and many state-related taxation policies are just modified as suitable to the industries, in particular industries. So in GST regime, we have already set up a committee how best we can support the MSMEs and other sectors through new tax concessions and new policies for encouragement.
But are tax concessions then viable in the long run?
Of course, but this is the era of competition. So all states are trying to attract industries, and Maharashtra cannot stay behind. So we have to be ready with our attractive incentives, and we are doing that. In GST, of course, we have to wait for some time, and we have to see until it is settled, properly settled. There are some difficulties observed by some industries or small players. They will take little time, but of course, this GST regime is future, and certainly it will support our economy. Through GST also, we have many plans and schemes which will be declared slowly.
Okay. Speaking of GST, the leaders of tomorrow did have the opportunity to speak with Mr. Kalraj Mishra, Minister for MSME, and I posed a question to him saying a lot of MSMEs say they're concerned about GST. They're concerned that, they don't understand it. They're saying it'll drive up our prices, it'll drive up our cost. What would you have to say to the MSMEs watching this show?
GST as a system is totally new. So some people will find it difficult in initial period, but slowly they will understand the benefits of GST, and GST will be accepted by one and all. It's some two-thing problems, but it's okay. Anything which is coming new, I mean, people are just trying to find out the ways and ways. But I'm sure it will be settled, and GST will be a new system which will support industry, our economy, and our overall way of life.
Okay. Do you agree with MSMEs who say that they fear that prices, output prices, the overall prices to the end consumer is going to go up, and therefore perhaps their profits could be hit?
It varies from industry to industry, from sector to sector. But government, the central government is there to support. They are introducing reforms in GST. It is not the final verdict. They may modify, they may introduce more incentives, and slowly it will be industry friendly. So one does not have to be afraid of all these modalities, but they will improve.
So we have to take a very short break here on the Leaders of Tomorrow, but there's much more on the other side. Just stay tuned. Welcome back. You're with us here on Leaders of Tomorrow, and tonight we bring you a special conversation, and this is part one of an interview with the Minister for Industries and Mines, Government of Maharashtra. India has about 30 to 40 million MSMEs as we speak, and most of them are really small units. We are also talking about units which are small scale industries, and they say lack of information is one of their biggest concerns when it comes to GST implementation. How is your government helping address that?
Yes, I have also heard this kind of reaction from the industry. They don't get information, and we are certainly planning to reach out. We have our every scheme available on online. So today they can approach to any piece of information. That is one thing. We are also interacting with the associations. And here, industries association can play a very important role. Through them, we can reach out to each and every member of the industry, and we can satisfy their queries. If they need any support, any information, what government is doing, what is new that is coming, we can reach out to them and give them information in detail through associations, online, and many government initiatives.
Okay. You were talking earlier about the specific schemes which your government is providing for MSMEs. The central government has been very categorical on the ease of doing business and single window clearance. Yes. Are you happy with the progress we're making?
Certainly, certainly. As compared to the earlier regime, now things have been improved. And we have introduced ease of doing business. We have reduced the number of permissions. We have simplified the procedures. And we have created one platform, Maitri. On that platform, 18 departments, they come together, and industry members don't have to go to each department. On one single platform, they get support and opportunity to interact with the different departments at one place. So this is a good initiative, and it is giving rewards. And industries are certainly, when I go to some events, some member stands up and he tells that we are really happy that we get support, and procedures have been simplified, and people ask on their own. People means not the public but the government officials, if you have any difficulty. This is happening for the first time. So it's a good initiative.
Okay, so there's proactively reaching out to small businesses.
Yes, yes.
In terms of ease of doing business. I want to talk about funding. We have a call-in show on the Leaders of Tomorrow, where nearly 80% of all the calls that come to us are from MSMEs and entrepreneurs who say, I can't access funding, I can't raise funds. I do know the government has announced the 2 crore collateral free CGT MSE scheme, but a lot of companies tell us that up to 1 crore is collateral free. Beyond the 1 crore, even though the cap is 2 crores, they still have to provide collateral because banks are still very nervous and worried. What would you have to say?
We have taken up this issue with Reserve Bank of India. On that forum, this can be resolved. Of course, banks have their own requirements and then their own terms and conditions. But we have to make this system more industry friendly. And we have, Maharashtra government has created venture capital fund. And we have approached SIDB, Small Industry Development Bank, to manage this fund. So this fund is available and limitless. The terms and conditions of banks, they have to be simplified. And I think Reserve Bank, they have promised us to look into this and they will come forward to simplify the things and industry will not find the difficulties as they are finding now.
Okay. 2014-15 was a very difficult period for industry when it came to raising funds because that's when you started seeing non-performing assets, NPAs hitting almost 10-year highs. Have things started changing?
Yes. As compared to last 2 to 3 years before, the condition was bit different and difficult. But now the things have improved and slowly improving every day. See, because we have to first understand where it pinches and then we have to address the issue. And this is not, I mean, one person who can do that. There are many institutions, banks, Reserve Bank of India, central government's policy. But certainly we are addressing the issues and MSMEs will find it easier to reach out to the banks and get the financial support.
Like you're saying, understand where it pinches. Where is the biggest challenge when it comes to raising funds for MSMEs? What are they perhaps doing wrong? What are they telling you? And what would you like to advise them?
See, their project itself should be viable. It should be viable, bankable. They must understand. And here I appeal to the associations and seniors in the industry to educate the newcomers, to teach them, to make them understand how a bankable project report can be created, how it can be viable. Banker will not accept which he doesn't find viable. It should be bankable also. So to come on the platform, the seniors in the industry, the associations and the small groups, they can very well educate these people and make them really approachable.
We were talking earlier about the lack of information surrounding GST implementation. There also seems to be lack of information surrounding raising of finance. You were talking about SIDB. SIDB makes it easy for MSMEs to access funds. You were talking about the funds which have been set up specifically for startups. There is also, of course, Mudra, there is the CGT MSE. So this lack of information which MSMEs have about what they can do to access funds, how can that be overcome?
Yes. There are institutions established by central government. We have also our own departments and different divisions. Through the associations, we can create more platforms to bring them together. And there are cases which are to be addressed individually. And that takes little time also, and government agencies find it difficult to address and resolve issues of every individual. So commonly we can handle it in a better way. So here the industries association, MSMEs associations, they can sit together, they can understand their members' issues, and then through government support, they can also find answers. So this is possible, and wherever we have tried, we have been successful.
Thank you very much for speaking with us here on the Leaders of Tomorrow, sir. That concludes part 1 of this special interview with the Minister for Industries and Mines, Government of Maharashtra. Part 2 coming up tomorrow. If you have any feedback on the show, you have anything you want to tell us, you can always write in at leadersoftomorrowtimesgroup.com. On social media, tweet at me personally at Sunanda_J or LOT_ET now, or on Facebook on Leaders of Tomorrow and ET now. You can also call us on that number you see on your screen. We promise to have all your questions answered. Thanks for watching. Have a good night.
We are little late, but better late than never. The women owners of industry, they contribute only 7% in India, which is a poor percentage. And that is why every institute, every association, every government and every individual must come forward to support women's participation in industry. That is why Maharashtra government is introducing this new policy, whereby they will get active support, whatever is possible, through the government agencies. And I am sure the women have all the skill, they can accept the challenge and they can manage. A woman, when she manages the family and the household, certainly she can manage industry as well. And they need support and some more support as compared to other sectors. So this policy would be trend setting. I am confident.